Coming up on Tech News Today, is Zynga leaving Facebook? Rafe Needleman gives relationship advice to the social networks. Also, AT&T stops choking you. Throttling you. At least so much. And Japan wags a finger at Google. Possibly two. All that and more coming up.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for St. David's Day, March 1st, 2012. Tech News Today is brought to you by GoToMeeting. Get better connected to the people you depend on for success. For your free 30-day trial, visit GoToMeeting.com, promo code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
I'm Jason Howell.
And joining us today, first of all, Owen J.J. Stone, a.k.a. Odocta, from OwenJJStone.com. Are those Beats headphones you got on?
No, these are my daughter's Sony headphones because my Beats are in the car. So
why are you holding a hammer?
Because I'm about to bring it to the news today, son. I'm laying the hammer down.
Excellent.
Tech News Today.
Also joining us, Anonymous.
Oh, hello.
Can you stop hacking me,
We know
please?
who they are now.
Yeah, you just got arrested in Latin
do it.
America.
That shirt looks really familiar for Anonymous.
Yeah. And joining us, we're very happy to have for our very first story of the show about Zynga, Rafe Needleman from CNET.com, host of Rafe's Radar. Why are you hiding? You're hiding from Anonymous.
You got Guy Fawkes and a hammer guy.
What have you gotten yourself into? Good to have you, Rafe.
It's good to be here. Good to see you.
I know you've only got a little bit of time, so let's get right to the story that you've been covering very well today. Zynga.com has been announced. According to Zynga, it'll launch within a few days, including the games Castleville, Words with Friends, Cityville, Hidden Chronicles, and Zynga Poker. And the idea is that you can play games away from the hustle and bustle of Facebook.
Oh, that Facebook is so distracting, and Zynga doesn't want you to be distracted. So they're launching this portal. You have to log in with your Facebook ID, and then you go there, and all you see are games, games, games. And also, the communication that you get with people is all about games. So they say you can progress faster, which means you can be more happy because you're playing more games more often.
But does this mean that Zynga and Facebook are splitting up?
No. Although I'm sure both of them would kind of like it in some ways. They both really still need each other. I mean,
they're stuck in a loveless marriage?
Yes, but it's highly functional.
Yeah, but very wealthy. I mean,
they're like a power couple.
Because what? Zynga makes up 12% of Facebook's revenue?
Yeah, that's right. And Zynga, so Facebook needs Zynga to feed them the money, and Zynga needs Facebook to feed them the social network. I mean, Facebook has nearly 1 billion users, and Zynga has, they say, 240 million active monthly users. That 750 million or 760 million left over, that's their growth. That's their future. They need Facebook desperately. So what this does is it gives their existing players a way to just dive in more deeply. But one of the really cool things about this that Facebook doesn't let you do that Zynga.com will is it will let you connect with people to play games and not have them be your friends.
Right. So in Facebook, you have to have a connection to play the games. In Zynga, you can have Z friends.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they don't have to be your Facebook friends. Although, what's interesting is they could become your Facebook friends because Facebook Connect is still involved.
Yeah, you have to sign on with Facebook Connect, and you can't yet be anonymous. I mean, so if I want to connect with somebody who Zynga matches to me because they play the same game that I do in the same style that I do at about the same time that I do, it'll try to match us up so that we can play together. But I'll know who that other person is. We can't hide behind proxies or gamer tags yet. Although in the future, Zynga is really thinking about launching this thing called Z tags that will let you be anonymous on the Zynga network and still on Facebook at the same time.
They're also announcing an API. It's kind of complicated the way they're rolling out, but essentially developers will be able to bring their games to the Zynga platform at Zynga.com without having to bring them to Facebook. Is that right?
Well, everything that appears on Zynga.com will also be playable on Facebook.
Okay, so you get both in the bargain.
Yeah, what Zynga is saying to developers is like, look, do your games with us. We will, and they'll have an a la carte service. At first, they're going to do it with, tight relationships with partners, but then they're going to open it up. So if you're developing a game, and you want to run it on Zynga servers, and they've just built their own server farm, then you can put it there. And if you get 30 million users in 10 days, Zynga says, hey, we can handle that. We're used to it. Also, Zynga, as you guys probably know, has this gigantic analytics engine. They know everything about how people play, what makes them games work or not work, and they will feed that data back to developers, which is even deeper than what Facebook has. So they'll help developers, make games that are more, how do I say this? More like crack.
Yeah, more addicting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting too that developers are saying we want Zynga because we can more easily get their audience to play our games than we can on Facebook. Although Facebook's audience dwarfs Zynga's audience, it's just hard to stand out there.
Well, one of the big things about this, going back to the user value proposition, is that when you're playing on Zynga, two things will be very different. First of all, you see all the communications that are game-related along the right-hand side of your screen, and everything that's not game-related gets filtered out. So you don't see photos of babies, and you don't see YouTube videos. You see all the stuff down the right-hand side there, and it's all game-related. Secondly, you can have a dialogue about a game while you're playing, and the game continues to play, so you don't get interrupted, which is a problem when you're playing a game on Facebook because of a layering issue with Flash games. When something pops up on top of the game has to pause. On Zynga.com, it won't have to happen that way, so you can keep playing. And you'll be playing in real time with people as opposed to asynchronously, so again, you can level up faster.
I thought it was interesting also what you wrote about Zynga moving their servers back into Zynga. They were renting them from Amazon now, but they've sort of changed to a own the base, rent the spike. They've got Amazon as a backstop when they get too much traffic, but most of the time they're providing the servers.
Yeah, Zynga uses up a lot of computing resources, and they were using Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Services, to launch games until a year or two ago. And then they started to build out their own private cloud, they call it, and they're using Amazon as a shock absorber for that extra capacity. So their latest games, like Cityville, for example, are all running on their own servers. And they were making a really big deal about this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, why are you pitching something about your infrastructure? And now I get it.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, it's because they want to tell developers, look, like I said, you have a game that you think will get big. We know how to handle that. Put your game with us. We will take care of you. No problem.
All right, Rafe, we're going to let you go. We know you're busy today, but thanks for taking the time to chat with us and let folks know where they can find Rafe's Radar and all the other stuff you're doing online.
Yeah, I write for CNET, and you just go to www.rafesradar.com, and it'll take you right there.
Excellent. Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you. Take care.
All right, cheers.
Bye, Rafe. Thanks, Rafe.
Bye, Rafe.
Gaming goodness for Zynga. Let's move on to AT&T, which is not going to stop strangling you, but they're just going to loosen the grip
I think
a
it's
little
throttling.
bit. Oh, I'm sorry, throttling.
Right.
Yes, I did. What did I say?
It's strangling.
Oh, well,
It's similar.
Suffocating.
Yeah.
Common
It's
misconception.
all
They're going to reduce your
same
speeds
idea.
anyway.
So you'll still receive a text message when your usage approaches the limit of your unlimited plan. But if you're one of the people with the unlimited plan, it'll be 3 gigabytes now instead of 2 gigabytes when you reach your billing cycle. Each time you use 3 gigabytes or more, your data speeds will be reduced for the rest of that billing cycle, then go back to normal. The next time you exceed that usage level, your speeds will be reduced without a text message reminder. And then separately, if you have an LTE-based smartphone and you're using LTE from AT&T, which is only in a few markets, and somehow you still manage to hold on to your unlimited data plan, you'll have a 5 gigabyte limit, which acknowledges the fact that you can use data at a faster rate, so you won't get throttled till you get to 5 gigabytes. AT&T says even with reduced data speeds, these customers will still be able to email and surf the web and continue to use an unlimited amount of data each month.
Now, it used to be the top 5% were being throttled at a certain point. Now it's everybody gets throttled if they hit 3 gigabytes on their unlimited plan. Right?
Exactly.
So they're not discriminating anymore. They're just saying everybody gets to have
How
this
does this
fun
apply
thing.
to somebody like me who has an unlimited data plan on an AT&T iPad?
I think it's the same. You've got
Because I've never gotten. I mean,
you've got 3 gigabytes now.
It should be the same across the board as long it just goes by the plan. It doesn't really care probably what device you're on. And this isn't really that big of a deal. I've had an iPhone since the beginning. I've had unlimited, but I've never gone over these 3 gigabytes and 5 gigabyte packages they're talking about. Most of the time you're near Wi-Fi or you could steal Wi-Fi or whatever. So it's not like you're out watching movies in your car. Your battery won't even last that long by the time you get the chance to use that. It's more for the people that are like hacked in their phone, they're tethering. those are the people that are upset. Nobody else really cares. Most people don't know anymore,
Actually,
or they've grandfathered out of that plan because they try and get you out as quick as possible.
My wife, Eileen, has been getting the text messages saying she's nearing the top 5%. She's not tethering. It's just she uses the darn thing a lot.
I wonder how much of this is a response to that small claims court case where they said,
I kind of
3 gigabytes I didn't even use 3 gigabytes, and that's your lowest tier. Why did I get throttled? And they're like, well, maybe we can't be in every small claims court case, but we could change our terms so that everyone's throttled and we can make some more money. What drives me a little bit nuts about this is that there are other carriers out there that let you, I guess, renew your billing cycle the second you go over. So if you want to keep having your speeds to be fast, you can do that. With AT&T, if let's say you hit this limit like 6 days in, you have to wait the rest of the time before you can get your speed back up. Unless you change your plan. It just seems a little bit.
That's what they want. They want you to change to a tier
They want
plan.
you to change the plan.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They force you out of it, and their speeds aren't as great as other service providers either. So they want to get you into something that's more palatable for them. Even though as many people have jumped ship off AT&T, I don't even know why this is still a problem. They should be giving everybody free internet to try and keep people. Because I'm getting on Verizon as soon as possible.
Aha! So this is a ploy. So that people get angry at AT&T, they leave AT&T, and now their network's even faster because they have less customers.
What? That doesn't really work.
Come on! But they said, remember they used to say, it's because we have so
the
many
few
people
who are left are so much happier.
It's like Sprint. Sprint's awesome because it's got
we
no
have
traffic.
so many people on the iPhone, we can't handle all this traffic. Well, half your base left. Now what's the problem?
Well, and the other thing is, as far as I understand it, and I know we probably have some engineers in the audience that knows how wireless works in reality without the spin. And if you can write into TNT at twit.tv and explain, that would be fantastic. But as I understand it, the problem isn't that people are using a lot of data at the same time. And so this tiering plan doesn't address the problem. The problem is you've just got a lot of people pinging the towers all the time, and you run out of capacity. And it doesn't have to do with the amount of data. Reducing the amount of data doesn't change anything. All this does is tries to get people to give AT&T a little more money, which it gives them the ability to buy more capacity, sure, but it's not a one-to-one thing where AT&T's trying to imply, well, we need to cut down the speeds because we're running out of bits. Well, they're not running out of bits; they're running out of connections, and throttling people doesn't change that, as far as I understand it. All right, let's move on to it is not only St. David's Day in Wales, you would be wearing a leek, but it's also Google Privacy Consolidation Day. Google is taking all of your accounts today, more than 70 privacy policies, and putting them into one. Now, a lot of people are upset at this because they're saying, hey, I don't want my YouTube searches to be combined with my Google searches, and now Google can know even more about me itself. I think Google knew everything about you before. They just couldn't combine the data. And governments are starting to take notice as well. Japan, this is really interesting, a big finger wag. Memo from the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications and the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry was sent to Google's Japan subsidiary and posted online Wednesday. The memo stressed the importance of following local privacy laws, fully explaining changes to users, and maintaining a flexible stance toward undertaking additional explanation or measures if needed in the future. Hayato Okai, an official from the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, said, "This was just a notification and requires no action or response from Google."
Is there a name for this, whatever this gesture is?
I
got my eyes on you.
Our eyes on you.
I don't know if it's a finger wag so much as it's that, whatever that's
a
called.
two-finger salute.
Somebody, I think that's a different thing.
Like the Three Stooges? Boy.
Close to it. Google's trying to put its hand up. I think that's the EU, actually.
I see.
Yeah, I was going to say, Japan is just like, listen, we are monitoring the situation. The EU is like, this is horrible, and you won't listen to us. We asked you to shelf this while we try to figure out how this works, for the citizens of the EU. And Google said, no, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, EU's Justice Commissioner Viviane Reding told the BBC that authorities found that, quote, transparency rules have not been applied. I wonder what they mean there, because Google has tried very hard. Now, they may not have been successful. They've tried very hard to tell people about it. People may be ignoring the notices, but those notices have been annoying. They've been everywhere.
The notices have been annoying, but I think what they're being accused of is not being transparent about why they really want to have one privacy policy across the board.
Maybe I just am jumping to the conclusion, but it seems pretty obvious to me. They want to sell better ads.
Well, but they don't come out and say that, and I think that's
maybe
why,
that's what it
people
is.
get bristly. It's like just explain to everybody that you want to make more money.
Yeah, the
Well,
complaint.
people don't understand. Like, it's Google. Everything's free. So they've got to make money somehow, and they say, look, I want your stuff. I want to know what's in your brain, and if you don't want me to know what's in your brain, you have like 2 options to opt out, or you could just get off the internet. You're free to not use the internet at any given time you want, and I won't be able to search you. You know what? You can close down that YouTube account that pays you 36 cents a month in royalties, and you don't have to use the Gmail and free Google Docs that I give you for your small business, even though you say it's a small business. You got 100 emails logged underneath this account. I mean, Google gives you so much free drugs, it's kind of hard to take them to court for selling you drugs. It's like, well, they didn't sell us the drugs. They gave it to us. How can we be mad? Well, stop doing drugs and you won't have a problem.
A good point about Google giving you something for free. If you're paying for a Google Apps business account, this does not apply. There's a separate privacy policy for that. This is just for their free accounts. If you want to take your data out of Google, too, Google lets you do that. Go to dataliberation.org. You can take your data away from Google. EFF has instructions on removing your Google search history. Just remember, Google keeps records indefinitely. If you disable your search history, they will be partially anonymized after 18 months. And certain kinds of uses, including sending you customized search results, will be prevented. But it won't prevent them from setting up anonymous cookies, so you'll have to block cookies. And in the end, short of what Odoct is saying, just not using the internet, the Tor browser, which encrypts your connection, probably is the best way to keep Google from knowing anything about you if you really don't want them to.
It's not hard, Tom. I stopped using the internet for 3 months. I got an email from Jason. Now I'm back on the internet, and I'm addicted again.
I brought you back to the internet?
You did bring me back to the internet. I
enabled
opened
you.
a 12-step program.
If you were off the internet, how did you check that email?
Whoa.
He came to my house, knocked on my front door like old-fashioned Tom.
It's true. I go to great lengths to get our awesome guests on the show.
A lot less packet loss that way.
His loyalty and love for me.
Did he say email? He just meant mail because Jason's a man.
Email.
He showed up. He is a male.
Email.
Sarah, don't make me come over there.
All right, I won't.
Okay.
But I will make you listen to our sponsor because they're awesome. Let's take a break and thank GoToMeeting. We develop trust in people. I trust Odoct because I've looked into his eyes. I've seen into his soul in person.
He gotcha.
But I know. But it's hard to do that on a phone call. And so if you've got business meetings, you're like, I don't want to pay $500, go through TSA, have them seize my toothpaste because it's 1 ounce too
Bad
large.
food.
Forget that. I want to use GoToMeeting, but I want to be able to see those nonverbal cues. I want to look in people's eyes. You can do that with GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix. It's a simple online meeting service with group HD video. Helps you get better connected to the people you depend on for success. All you have to have is a webcam and the ability to click in some way, and you can collaborate in a group with HD video, see people eye to eye, collaborate on documents, help build that trust and confidence that's going to make your meeting worth having. GoToMeeting is easy to set up and use, of course, and the video quality is clear and natural. It's like being in the same room. Works on Mac or PC, so go try it out. Training sessions, sales presentations, weekly status meetings, whatever you need it for, try it out for free. For 30 days, just go to GoToMeeting.com, that's GoToMeeting.com, and click on the Try It Free button and enter the promo code TNT for 30 days free. That's GoToMeeting.com, promo code TNT. We thank them for their support of Tech News Today. Let's move on to a constitutional showdown. So this is about the laptop encryption case. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is that the laptop has been decrypted, but not for the reasons that you might think.
Oh, so the judge didn't change his mind.
Judge didn't change his mind. Yeah, and if you're needing a refresher, this was the case of the encrypted Toshiba laptop that somebody had taken from her while she was under investigation for mortgage fraud. Her name is Ramona Fricosu. They took it with a valid warrant and said, decrypt this laptop. Now, of course, she was stalling. She got herself a lawyer. The lawyer suggested she might not even know the password anymore. So the whole question was, is decrypting a hard drive a breach of the Fifth Amendment right against compelled self-incrimination? Well, in January, a Colorado U.S. District Judge, Robert Blackburn, ordered Ms. Fricosu to decrypt that laptop by the end of this month, by the end of February, so a couple days ago, and refused to stay his decision to even allow her time to appeal. Last week, in a completely separate case, the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled an encrypted drive is like a combination to a safe or key to a locked box, and unlocking that is forcing testimony. The first appellate court to issue this ever. So this is, you could say, well, this is a precedent. How does it apply to Ms. Firkosu's case? Well, Judge Blackburn isn't legally bound to follow this 11th Circuit precedent because he sits in a different circuit. He sits in a circuit covered by the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals.
It's kind of like the Hunger Games.
Who wouldn't review his decision, right? So he could. He could change his mind,
yeah,
but he's not legally bound to. So you wonder, well, what's going to happen? Does she somehow take advantage of the fact that some other court says that she's got a Fifth Amendment right in this case? Apparently, her drive is now decrypted, says her lawyer, Philip Dubois, because on Wednesday, police gave him a copy of info they got off the drive, and he says it's because her ex-husband and co-defendant supplied the password.
Now, we don't know whether he knew the password or just guessed the password.
We don't know.
It's like, oh, yeah, she always used puppies 1, 2, 3. Try that.
Her lawyer also claims he hasn't even looked through this information yet, so it's not as if it's like, ooh, she's obviously very guilty because now the evidence is there. He has just said, listen, the authorities gave me a big stack of information that they got off of the hard drive that is no longer encrypted, which I mean, I don't want to laugh, but it's like after all of this, we've got sort of precedent-setting court cases going on, and it turns out you just need to be careful with who you give your password to.
The oddest thing about this case was the idea that a laptop had stayed encrypted. Not because encryption is easily broken, but people's password behavior is usually so bad that they don't have to deal with this. And it ended up that was the case.
Can I just say one thing to the people in the world, if you're listening? If you're doing something wrong or illegal, I don't condone that at all. But I'm just saying, if you're doing something wrong, I suggest using a nice long password. I suggest you not telling your mother, or your dog, or anybody this password, because you already know that you're doing something wrong. So why would you let anybody know what your password is? And if you're smart enough or you're watching this, you're an engineer, why don't you come up with some software like on my iPhone where I put the password in 10 times and it erases all my data, and then we can put that on our phones. We can split that, you and I, 80-20. I'll take the 80, you take the 20. And we can make millions and millions of dollars because a lot of people out there doing dirt. I'm just saying, watch your passwords. Capital letters, numbers.
That's why these cases don't come up that often, though, is because people don't. These are great ideas. People don't follow them. People don't. No. They don't use good passwords. They don't have good password security. Smartest thing would be
password?
1, 2, 3 puppies. But the smartest thing would be to take all your passwords, keep them in LastPass or something like that, and then your LastPass password is written down on an envelope that you keep in a safety deposit box somewhere, and then you hide the key in a storage container, and then you hide the key to the storage container. You know what I mean?
And really, when you think about a case like this, it's like, I wouldn't even want to know your password because then the authorities are going to detain me and keep asking me for it. It's like, let's never share our passwords with each other.
Philip Dubois is like, I don't know her password. Try this one.
He knew her password.
Philip Dubois is her attorney.
He probably got a deal out of that.
Firkosu's ex-husband is who I meant, yeah.
If he's on that, he made a deal, and he's like, look, she's not going to give it to you. I'll give it to you. You knock 5 years off, give me a foot rub, whatever you need. I'll do it.
More Windows stories kicking around in the wake of the announcement yesterday of Windows 8 Consumer Preview, and stories coming out about the popularity of Windows. In case you're wondering, like, who cares about Windows 8? Net Applications found that Windows XP's share of the market has finally dipped to 45% from 47% in January, and at the same time, Windows 7 rising to 38%, up from 36%. Windows Vista has around 8%. Windows overall has about 96% of the market. I may be calculating that wrong, 82, 90, definitely above 90% of the market. Mac OS X is around 5 to 6% of the market. So everybody has Windows. That doesn't mean they're going to stay on Windows, but they have Windows. And people are excited about Windows 8. Microsoft says that there were 1 million downloads of the Windows 8 preview in less than a day. Now, Larry Dignan speculates, though, that this may be the last hurrah for Windows 8. This may be Microsoft's last big OS because users are switching to mobile. They're using tablets. They're using smartphones more often, and they may not replace those desktops and laptops, at least in as big a numbers as they have in the past. And on mobile phones and on tablets, we have a much more diverse operating system ecosystem. Do you buy that argument?
I don't buy it at all, actually, because what Microsoft's doing with this particular version of Windows is they're unifying their entire operating system when it comes to the Windows Phone, when it comes to the tablet interface and the desktop. So they're basically not future-proofing themselves, but they know that this change is coming up. They want to make sure that this version of Windows is the one that's going to be the base for the next set of devices out there, because they're not. If they were being crazy, they'd be like, we're going to dig our heels in. The desktop is the future. We're not going to even bother with this tablet-friendly interface. That'd be insane. But what they're doing here is setting themselves up for the long run. And this will probably see the same kind of refresh cycle as the Xbox dashboard, where we see that change from time to time. Maybe it won't be like this big event. Like, I mean, it's not even that big of an
Larry's
event.
not saying Windows is going to die, but he's saying, like, this is huge because 90% of the world uses Windows. Maybe not of the world, but 90% of the marketplace uses Windows. So it's huge. Next time around, because of tablets, and if we count tablets and phones, it may be less than 50% that use Windows. And so it becomes less of a big deal.
Tom, when I get a cheeseburger, there's not tablets at the McDonald's or the Burger King or the Wendy's. Like, people still need desktops to run businesses and do computing. And the affordability of Windows alone is going to keep them at that high market value. A lot of people can't go afford to buy 20 iMacs to put into their offices. So, maybe it won't be a big event, but it's going to be around forever. I mean, Windows doesn't even have a viable tablet to even consider me thinking, oh, Jiminy Christmas, I could just live with a Windows tablet. So, they say the things that they're saying, but it just sounds nice. It doesn't mean anything. They're going to keep on with business as usual and maybe have updates like Iyaz said, like maybe they don't do full updated versions, but it's not going anywhere. I don't care what they say.
Windows 8 Server also getting some love. That was released as well. We didn't mention that yesterday. It's rebuilt from the ground up to better support virtualized servers. You could do virtualized servers in Windows Server before, but Microsoft sort of resisted the idea. Now they're embracing it wholeheartedly, and a lot of people think this may have VMware worried because people were using VMware to virtualize servers in great numbers in the past. Now with Hyper-V working so much better in Windows 8, that could change that playground as well. All right, let's move on to Lytro. Pre-orders started today, or started shipping today.
That's right. Pre-orders. If you pre-ordered a Lytro camera, that's that light field technology camera that takes photos of you can focus them later. That's how to explain this one. If you try to order them now, they're back ordered until April. Now, a bunch of sites have their reviews up, and image quality apparently is pretty good if you set up a shot in a particular way. Like, I mean, a lot of the things that makes Lytro pretty cool is being able to focus things in the foreground, the background. But if you just have like a singular shot of a very flat scene, it's not going to look that great. Apparently, it also needs to be lit really well because these poorly lit images get really, really grainy and disgusting. Wired is also talking about the composition, like I was saying before. The software that works with Lytro, it turns out it's Mac only so far. And apparently very resource intensive. Apparently it was killing somebody's MacBook Air. And if you want to flatten out the image, it's 1080 by 1080. So it's a really low-res JPEG image. The actual Lytro files are about 16 megabytes apiece. So there are plans for Lytro to fix some software in the long run because the hardware itself is pretty solid, and they can change what data they get out of it with software updates. So it kind of has a nice little future around it. But I'm just excited that this thing's even in existence. When I first saw this, I thought, okay, look, this is such a gimmick. It seems like there's no way this thing's going to get to production. And we haven't seen a lot of leaps and bounds when it comes to photography. We've just seen like film to digital to megapixels and all this other stuff. But this is a totally different way to take photos, and I was very excited about this.
I mean, the concept of Lytro is awesome. I feel the same way that you did, Iyaz, when I heard about it. It was like, wow, that is absolutely going to revolutionize the way that people take pictures. But the more I hear about, well, the lighting has to be just so, and you kind of have to take a certain kind of picture to take advantage of the post-processing where you can adjust what it's focused on. That, to me, feels like it defeats a bit of the purpose of taking a picture and not worrying so much about focusing because you can play with it later. It sounds like you still have to think about quite a few things before the picture is taken in order to get the best picture after the fact, which is what I'm doing anyway.
Go ahead, Doctor.
So basically, to me, this just reminds me of like a Cracker Jack prize. Like, you eat the Cracker Jack, you get down there, you're like, oh, I got this great thing, and you play it for 5 minutes, you're like, oh, well, this sucks. I mean, basically, it's like HDR. Like, HDR is a cool feature, but most people don't know how to use it. But once it starts becoming in like your iPhone and cameras, it becomes a nice feature. This camera seems like it should be a feature in another camera. Like, someone else should buy this and put it into Canons or an iPhones or something like that. I mean, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, wow, if this does video, then a lot of people are going to be making sex tapes in their room because, right, you just put it on the counter and then you can zoom in and make things that are fuzzy clear and in the background. But it doesn't do video. The pictures are grainy, and it's a horrible thing to hold. It just, It sounds great. The concept is great. The software is great. Sell that license to somebody who knows how to make a camera, because I don't want to walk around looking like a Borg unit walking down the street trying to take a picture. It's just silly.
And one of the things about the design that people are kind of iffy about is that tubular design. It seems a little strange, and apparently you can have blurry subjects. So if I'm trying to press the shutter and I kind of move my hand, whatever you're looking at still can be blurry, even though you can focus on different parts of it. Your subject is still blurry. So it kind of takes away a part of that. As for video, one of the Lytro CEOs did talk about that before, and the thing that's holding that back is processing power. So that looks like it'll come eventually. But
I'll buy 2 of those.
But the thing is,
I'm not going to tell you what I'm using it for, but I will get 2 of those. They come out with video.
If you get the current one, it actually can do 3D eventually with the software update, which is kind of interesting.
I don't know if you want to see me in 3D.
Well, you only need one camera is what I'm saying if you're going to do it.
Okay. Okay.
There you go.
Good.
Do you think that Lytro gets bought? I think that that's what they're after. They're like,
I hope so.
We want to get bought.
I mean, the rumor was that they talked to Steve Jobs early on. Jobs wanted it in the iPhone, but the issue with the actual technology, Lytro, the reason why it's shaped that way is because that's as small as they can get that device. And if they could put it in a smartphone in the long run, maybe it'll happen. But the thing is, you need this like relatively long barrel kind of shape, and you don't want that on your phone unless you're going to be carrying a very, very chunky device.
Well, all these little cameras now have interchangeable lenses that they could put on. You could sell to Olympus, to Nikon, Sony. All of them now have the little point-and-shoot cameras with the interchangeable lenses that would be able to use that lens technology. I mean, who's going to use that? Who is going to use that? Look at that thing.
Once it gets easy, you don't have to worry about lighting and pixelation, though. I mean,
if you don't have to worry about lighting, pixelation, the picture's looking horrible, you looking like a Borg unit. I mean, there's a lot of ifs and whens. And
wait a second. Wait a second. The Borg unit thing is completely nonsense. If you had a DSLR, you already look like a freak because you're holding this giant box.
Excuse me.
With a giant lens.
I look smart.
The world is used to you looking like that, and they're not used to you looking like this.
Oh yeah,
because they'll get used to it.
Oh yeah, and when you wear your Google glasses, that'll look normal. But if I have a telescope on my eye,
hobbyist photography people who they love the idea of this Lytro. I don't think this is like dead in the water or hard to use. It's just a first generation of a new concept. Yeah. Let's not go crazy.
Last word to Sarah Lane. Let's move on to the news fuse. Everything your teacher taught you was wrong. You already knew that, but Game Informer has confirmed with Ubisoft that the next installment of Assassin's Creed will take place at the time of the American Revolution. The game is set in the 18th century, and the Templars and Assassins continue their war in the Americas. I knew it! Well, actually, this is just a game. It's not history. Assassin's Creed 3 will introduce a new hero into the franchise as well.
Okay, let me try to get excited about this. I can't. It's rumor mill time. Digitimes is reporting that Apple is launching 2 iPad 3 models at 16 and 32 gigabytes. Ooh, the 64 gigabyte model seems to be missing, and an 8 gigabyte iPad 2 model would also be in the lineup. Also, CNET sources say that the iPad may be in short supply because of a lack of display panels due to manufacturing difficulties. The Apple event is on the 7th, so of course, blogs, get your rumors in, although you're already doing really well.
On to, guess what? Patent wars. Yeah.
All Things D is calling it Game of Phones, like Game of Thrones.
Oh, are they? Well, I'm
so excited.
I'm thrilled about this. Let me report this right now. Then the Munich 1 regional court granted Apple an injunction against Motorola because Moto was found to infringe on an Apple patent related to photo management on a portable electronic device. If Apple chooses to enforce the injunction, this is a great one, it could ask Motorola to destroy the devices. However, that is pretty unlikely, and Motorola could they can issue a software update, which will probably get around this patent.
A new ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit says that the police do not need a warrant to search your cell phone. Those are the officers of the law, not the band. However, the ruling limited to a particular fact pattern. In this case, the police were searching for the cell phone's phone number on that same device. The court ruled that this kind of search was, quote, minimally invasive and does not require a warrant. Court stressed that not all searches on a cell phone can be conducted without a warrant. So freak out a little less.
Freak out.
China's firewall was temporarily down this week, which opened up access to all those blocked sites like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. What caused the firewall's failure is unknown and was back in place by Wednesday.
Apparently, people are really impatient. Research by Google engineer Arvind Jain shows that a 250 millisecond delay Exactly. Is enough time for web surfers to leave a website as it loads. A 400 millisecond delay in a search is enough to get people to search less. Now, 400 milliseconds for like kind of scale is the time it takes to blink.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
An internal investigation found that a NASA laptop containing International Space Station control codes was stolen. The laptop was not encrypted either. Great. Apparently, this isn't a solitary event either. Other devices containing info on NASA's Orion and Constellation programs were also lost. So, just open source.
Just managed by a bunch of space cases.
Readability just released its much-anticipated iOS app, and boy, are people excited. Kind of weirdly excited, but no judgment here. I also like an iOS app. Readability is a free service that saves web pages for reading later in an easy-to-read, stripped-down format. Readability competitor Instapaper has responded with a redesigned It's Read It Later bookmark. So basically, everyone lets you read things later because you're really busy.
So don't read anything now.
My read later list is way too long anyway. The wars for mobile payment domination may not get the press of the patent wars, but they are simmering along nicely. Square just won a victory in New York by conquering the taxi system there. The New York TLC approved a proposal to deploy Square in 30 taxi cabs as part of a test phase that will begin in a few weeks. No word on whether you'll be able to use Cardcase, but cabbies don't despair. Cardcase does allow for tipping.
You're gonna do that, Owen?
Huh? What?
You're gonna use card case on your taxi?
Oh, yeah. As soon as I wake up and remember what we guys were talking about the last 3 minutes.
You're gonna need to know this. You'll be able to pay for a taxi cab with your phone.
Oh, don't worry. You can just watch the downloaded podcast.
And I don't mean a bribe. I mean just on your phone.
I pay straight cash, homie.
I don't take that anymore. Yeah.
The yellow cabs in San Francisco, not all of them, but I've had several now who have the little Square dongle on their phones, and it is great.
Hey, Jason.
I love Square.
Yeah, I love Square too. Hey, Jason, fire up the randomizer.
Okay, we can do that.
Randomizer.
Lots of people, including Gizmodo, reporting today that the Speech Jammer device is being shown off, developed at the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology in Japan. It works because when you speak, you aren't just using your mouth as an audio out speaker. You actively listen to what you're saying, and the way we sound dictates how we proceed with our speech. Anybody who's ever had their voice delayed in an earphone has experienced the difficulty of not being able to hear what you're saying at the exact same time you're saying it. So this gun shoots your words back to you with a delay of a few hundred milliseconds, enough for you to get bored with a web page loading. And also enough to mess up your natural cadence. It's called delayed auditory feedback, and it can be used in law enforcement to silence a crowd.
It just annoy the hell out of people, too. You could just,
I need one of these in my life. I have a child. I have dogs. Hopefully it works on pets. So when your dog starts barking, you just and then they just shut up.
They just get confused.
This is one of the greatest inventions available. Like if you have one right now, you can shut me up, but you don't have one. So basically the only thing you could do is have Jason cut my mic, which you haven't done yet. You still let me talk around my mouth. So we need one of these guns is what I'm trying to say.
Or I could figure out how I could delay your audio back to you 200 milliseconds later and do the same thing that this gun does.
Just have Uncle Leo order us too, because I'm taking
They say that one of the main objectives of Speech Jammer is meetings. So that turn taking, if somebody speaks out of turn, you shoot them with the gun.
So there's just like a guy with this gun that's like on in a high chair, just pointing at people.
Does it have to be a gun?
Well, I guess
could it be like you're
device.
holding up the flag?
Yeah, you can do other form factors, friendlier form factors.
I mean, they already make guns that'll shut people up.
That's true. Guns that kill people and wound them. Actually, they make them scream in pain sometimes.
That's true. That's true.
Depends on how you use them. All right, let's check the calendar.
4 years in the making, and BioShock Infinite is going to be released on October 16th in the U.S. and October 19th internationally for the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC versions. So far, the BioShock franchise has sold, a tiny little 9 million units. Pretty popular. For $299.99, the Parrot AR drone 2.0 quadricopter. Tom, I know you love these. It's your favorite part of CES every year.
I actually do love them, but every time I see him at CES,
he's like, look at this quadricopter again, and you never ever see them for sale. All right, well, this quadricopter is up for pre-order today at online retailer Brookstone. It'll be delivered on April 9th. Otherwise, if you don't pre-order, it'll be released sometime in May. It does have a cool new feature. You can record in-flight video from the onboard HD camera directly to a thumb drive through a new USB port. Kind of cool. Talk about spying on people. And we weren't actually talking about spying on people, but that's what immediately came to my mind. And finally, the week-long Game Developers Conference kicks off next Monday in San Francisco, California.
Let's check some email.
Incoming message.
First one comes from Guy in Tampa. Some guy, not just some guy, but Guy in Tampa. He says, I definitely think that Facebook numbers are overblown. Many of us out there have more than one Facebook account. You know, that's a violation of their terms of service, don't you, Guy? He says, I know a lot of people who have two accounts, one for themselves and one for their pets. I have an account for myself, and I also have an account for my pet bird, Persephone decimus Moulton. My friends and family want to know what's going on with Persephone, like when she used to be named Perseus until she laid an egg, then got the name Persephone. Facebook is the perfect forum to inform the world about the changes in my bird's life. Like now she is laying on a lug nut and a big D20 to take the place of the unfertilized eggs. Now,
Guy.
Just want to follow Persephone now.
Guy, my phone number is 856-347-0069. Call me. I'll come down to Florida because you seem like a cool guy that loves birds.
I just want to hear him talk about
your stories.
Yeah,
I
just want to
hear the bird stories. I'm trying to learn. I'm
How
trying
do
to
you
listen.
send in an email and not include a picture of Persephone?
Seriously,
Right?
I don't even know what your point was about Facebook. It was probably wrong, but I
Show
love
us the
I want to
bird.
hear more about Persephone.
Yeah, you want to hear the bird. Bird's the word.
I can't wait to read all of those.
Next email from Jeff in Pomona, California. Just wanted to make a quick observation about Google Plus over the last few months. My stream has actually gotten way more interesting, and that may be why Tom doesn't see as many comments on his post. I never see his posts anymore because my stream is filled with tons of other great stuff. His
He
post
didn't
just
say other.
whiz by.
He said tons of great stuff.
I am trying to make it sound nicer. Wow. His post just whizzed by, says Jeff. I just don't see your post because so many other people are using Google+. Also, I'm circled by new people every day, and I'm up to over 500 people circling me, so I don't think it's a ghost town. Keep throwing that tech news down and beating out some sense.
Wouldn't they not whiz by if people comment? Don't they just show up to the top again?
Yeah, that's because nobody. I don't know. Vance made a similar point in a Google Plus response on my thread that there's lots going on, and so people are commenting in less amounts on these sort of informational posts like my Tech News Today posts. They're more interested in the substantive posts where you can have a big discussion.
And to be fair, and somebody had pointed this out the other day too, is you saying, hey, AT&T is starting, come join. Sometimes people will be like, oh, cool, I'll watch it. And there's nothing to say. So it's not as if you're expecting 100 comments about a show when you're just reminding people to watch.
It's just, I do think that there are a few. I get the feeling, and I don't think it's a ghost town. I got lots of cool things in my feed and lots of cool discussions going on, but I do think there are fewer than there used to be.
The basic point is that it's on the decline, and you can't deny the fact that it's on the decline. Now, just because you have a house party and 4 people show up and you have a great time at that party, it doesn't mean you had the party of the century. Okay, when there's a guy across the street that's got 200 people in his house having a party, you can't go to him the next day and say, "Well, my party was so much better than yours, and I have 3 people to prove it." Like it is on the decline. It is what it is. If you like using Google Plus, then have at it and use it until it's gone. I mean, Google's pumping ads out the wazoo on television. I don't see Facebook running ads every day trying to get people to use their product. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't think Google Plus is doomed. I think people are overreacting when they call it a ghost town and all of that. But I don't think you can deny that activity on it has diminished a little bit over the past several months.
Maybe it's proof, at least to some degree, that people aren't using circles the way they're intended to be used. If people are more and adding more and more people and following more and more people on Google Plus, that means that their feed is now filled with a lot more people's information. If you're not using your circles the way you're meant to, then you're not going to see the Tom Merritt post because you're now following 50, 100 people in one giant circle.
Because you have all those great posts.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Last email from Rob in Canada. Hi, TNT. By redirecting Bodog.com, the United States has just extraterritorially seized the assets of a Canadian company, one operating in Canada, and doing something that was legal under Canadian law. If this was anything other than a domain name, it would be an international incident. Worse, the United States isn't even against gambling. This is a protectionist law sponsored by real-life gambling interests in the United States. That, coupled with the fact your Congress and Senate are happily trying to pass laws enabling them to seize domains without due process and for flimsy offenses, and you can see why the rest of the world is getting a little freaked out. It's time to get the domain registration system out of the United States. It isn't mature enough to manage it.
Okay, conspiracy theory there aside and the maturity comment aside, I think his first point is a really good one that we glossed over a little bit because we got caught up in the fact that Bodog doesn't rely on Bodog.com for its website. If it did, essentially the United States would have taken down the ability to get directly to a website that operates perfectly legal in other parts of the world. So it's a fair point to say that, okay, maybe in Maryland they were illegal, and so therefore, you've got the right to take down a website, a domain name when it's a United States organization, but all .coms are in the United States, maybe, and that's a problem in that case, because what if something's perfectly legal somewhere else, and it's declared illegal in the United States, doesn't give the United States the right to go shut it down everywhere else in the world, which is essentially what you do if you take down their one and only domain name. Now, granted, you can get there by IP address, and they can register a new domain name and all of that, but I think it's a good principle to note.
The World Wide Web, Tom, the World Wide Web. America does not have the right to do what they're doing, and I'm on board with Canadian. I'm trying to move to Canada and get free meds because apparently they care about people, and in America, it's all conspiracy, and we're just watching each other's back and trying to steal domains. I'm going after TomMerritt.com, and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
It's really cold up there.
I got a coat, and I'm overweight. I got insulation. I'm like a polar bear. I got this.
Fine. Okay.
I'm good.
You're good. That's it for today's show. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. You can find us on the web, twit.tv/TNT. You can go to our subreddit and submit stories. technewstoday.reddit.com is the place to go. Let us know what you think. Vote things up or down there. Owen, J.J. Stone. Oh, Doctor, good to see you again, man. Great to have you on the show.
It's good to see you, too. I miss you, Iyaz. I'm going to come take a picture of you with my telephone camera tube when I come to the city.
It also doubles as a lint roller. I like it.
What? That's the
Lytro.
Oh, the Lytro.
Yeah.
Oh, the knockoff.
Yeah. This is a prototype.
You got anything going on you want to tell people about, where they can find you on the web, all that kind of stuff?
OJJstone.com, at ODoctor. I've been off the internet literally for 3 months, and I'm going to come back now, I guess, because you guys made me happy and I had a good time. So
you're welcome, Owen.
Follow my tweets. Yeah, Jason. Thanks for coming over to my house and having a cup of coffee with me, making me realize that I needed the web.
Don't call it a comeback.
Nope. I made the internet.
Twit.tv/TNT is the place to find us. You can email us, TNT@twit.tv, and you can phone us using a telephone and leaving us a voice message at 260-TNT show. Darren Kitchen joins us for Friday tomorrow. That's when Friday occurs. We'll see you then.